Tonight's notes will be pretty short. This is the final notes of the chapter. Our heading is plant responses. Plant responses. And there's just a few terms that I'd like to look at. Number one, or the first thing, I guess, stimulus. I'd like you to write this down. Anything that causes a change in the behavior of an organism. A stimulus is anything that causes a change in the behavior of an organism. So at the very beginning of the year, I believe we went through characteristics of all living things, and we talked about how all living things react to a stimulus. That if I tap you on the shoulder, okay, you're going to tell me to stop, you're going to punch me, whatever you're going to do, but you're reacting to something, okay? In order to survive, you need to react to a stimulus. But a stimulus is anything that causes your behavior to change. Okay, we have homework detention on Wednesdays. That is meant to be a stimulus to your behavior. Okay, that's meant to change your behavior by getting you to do your homework and not have missings or lates. So you do better in school, you get better grades and all that stuff. That's considered a stimulus. Another term, I'd probably write this down, is tropism, when a plant responds to a stimulus. So tropism is when a plant responds to a stimulus. You don't need to write this, but phototropism is when plants react to light. Okay, I believe at the beginning of the year I talked about my plant that kept moving towards the window. That is phototropism. Photo actually means light. Tropism would be reaction to a stimulus. Okay, I've driven out to the Black Hills, and somewhere in the middle of the state they'll have big fields of sunflowers, and those sunflowers will turn towards the sun. They'll follow the sun. That is phototropism. And there's another one, you don't need to write this, gravitropism, which is basically plants growing to or away from gravity. When we look at when a seed germinates, this is how a seed knows where to put their roots and where to put the stem. If you think about it, if you have a corn seed and you plant it in the ground, okay, it needs to know it's going to shoot out a stem and it's going to shoot out a root. And it needs to know which way to do which one. So it knows, okay, gravity's pulling here, this is where my roots will go, this is where my stem will go. Auxin is a thing that is a hormone that plants make for it to grow. Nothing to worry about there. Another hormone, ethylene gas, causes fruits to ripen. There are things, and you don't need to write this down, but called long day plants. They require long days in order to bloom. Now in South Dakota we have short days, even in the summer. So we have short day plants. They need to be able to bloom in a shorter period of time because we have more darkness. Short day plants, like the goldenrod, which is the state flower of Nebraska, needs short days. It doesn't need many hours of sunlight to do what it needs to do. And then there are plants that don't care. One last thing, why do leaves change colors? Basically, what's happening is as the sun becomes less and less in the fall, plants will stop producing chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the reason leaves are green. So if you shut off the chlorophyll, basically you're shutting off the green, and that's why they turn to other colors. In the spring then, the chlorophyll is produced again, it's turned back on, and that's why things start greening up and growing again. So, and it's all because of shorter days of daylight. Okay, so it's not about like your tree in your backyard that loses its leaves in the fall. It's not about, oh, it's getting cold, it's going to lose its leaves. No, it's about, hey, there's less sunlight, it's going to lose its leaves. So that is all for this chapter.